Travis Wayne Goodsell. I started watching Dan Brown's The Lost Symbol, which was a TV series, not one of the movies of the previous ones, in which they finish his books on particular Langdon. Is it Langdon? Thomas Langdon? Am I getting it right? It's no Tom Hanks, but it's still good. It's Paramount that's doing it. I guess they no longer go by CBS. But I also went running today. I've got a lot of work to repair the damage. So yeah, you can hear me wheezing, as I can hear me wheezing. And so I've got about 2 weeks on my bus pass left. It's only for a month, and then I'll have to go maybe once a week or something like that to get stuff that I would need. But this means that I'll have to pick up the pace to restore my food supply and hygiene and other stuff for as long as I can make it last, hopefully for a year. That's the goal, because as I've told you, this apartment I wasn't supposed to find. This was an accident. The shelter purposely put a particular caseworker to fool with me, to make me feel like we were making progress, but never actually doing so, as the hesitation purposely caused me to miss out on the funding and miss out on housing that was available before the funding ran out. And so they were purposely being malicious towards me. And if the church is not involved, and they're all just separate entities doing their job, why then did they invest so much in torturing me to keep me there at the shelter? Not do what they do for everybody, right? Which they don't, and that is try to get people into housing. And so yeah, it's very clear that there was a concerted effort to have me murdered and incarcerated or kidnapped and held hostage, although the cops were involved in assisting with that kidnapping, which makes it a wrongful incarceration. According to legal terminology, government is incarceration, regular civilians are hostage taking, kidnapping. And so yeah, I wasn't supposed to get this place. And even when we did come here, and there was one final apartment that I could afford, the woman assigned gave every indication that she wasn't willing to help me get this place, because you got to put a hold on an apartment. And if you didn't know, Utah is in a housing crisis where if you can find an apartment, you need to make sure you get it, because you're not likely to get another opportunity like this. I knew this. And so yeah, I made the sacrifices to make sure I got this place. And when I got it, then they were like, oh no, we can't help you, and it was another lady who made promises, and I don't think she was kept in the loop. And so I made sure that she kept her promises when the other lady was brought back in, and she was trying to keep me from being placed in this place. And I had sent her one final email because of the need for certain housing things that didn't make it with me in the move, that I would need to buy, and I was hoping that she would respond with some assistance on that, at least places where I could go to get assistance. And I haven't heard from her. And like I said, the pattern of practice is that the church is out to get me, to murder me, and they fire people. The woman assigned to me that hesitate to keep me at the shelter, she no longer works there. And so I'm worried about the one who did fulfill her promises with me, and that she no longer works there, and that's why she's not responding to my email. So, and it was really a reply to an email she had sent rather than a separate email. And so she did not ever respond, and she was responding in the beginning. So I'm kind of worried for her, because they destroy people's lives when they want something accomplished. And if you do not do what they want you to do, they destroy you. No matter your ignorance on the matter, your naivety, your innocence. Once the church steps in and wants you to do something for them, you have no choice but to do it, or they will destroy your life. And what they ask you to do is criminal. And that is scary, because I've seen people who up and quit because they didn't want to do it. And I have seen people who were willing to do it and got rewarded when they succeeded. This is a very dangerous time we are living in. I have uncovered the secrets of the church, that they've been deceiving us for 200 years. Not wanting us to know what Joseph Smith was trying to tell us. So yeah, I am kind of surprised that Dan Brown didn't think there was anything here with Utah. But there definitely is, as I've done the videos pointing out for you. And so, as this is the last year of the latter days, as my lease will be up at the end of March, which means April 8th is the next month after the lease is up. Like I said, I'm trying to make sure that I get as much of a year's supply of things, essential things, as possible, on top of the projects that I have to complete before the end of this year, as I've been forced to do it alone without assistance all these years. But yeah, I'm still open to help if anybody wants to help. But last night I got inspiration to do this video to let you know, also to warn you that you would hearken to me, to likewise get yourself, as financially possible, a year's supply of things. Not just food, and food that is not perishable, but something you will eat also. But also hygiene and other essential needs. For photos and documents, get them digitized and get a thumb drive and a backup thumb drive to put them on. Have yourself an emergency kit, have yourself an emergency backpack, so that if whatever comes, you're going to be prepared. There's going to be some potential problems throughout the year, so not everybody will be able to go without incident till next year. And I'm even expecting that, or I'm hoping that I will not be here next year, that I would be forced out prior to, but have the ability to leave with transportation to carry everything that I have that needs to be taken with me. I'm the record keeper, and I don't have a wagon to carry everything in, despite Wayne meaning wagon, wagoneer. And so we've got climate change disasters, natural disasters that are occurring. You need to be prepared for when they happen. But this is the bicentennial year of the day that shall burn as an oven. We are also experiencing a potential financial collapse. The Silicon Valley Bank collapsed, and it no longer exists. That did some damage on the stock market and to our economy. But Congress also is refusing to do something about the debt. We're overdrawn, and they're not raising the debt ceiling, and time is running out, and we don't know when, but we were told likely before June. And we're into mid-March here, and 2.5, 3 months for what they guessed would be a collapse. See, right now they're moving money around for the budgeting to try to make it work, to keep us going. But with a bank collapse, and for a collapse of our economy, that's going to cause some problems. I mean, granted, all they have to do is print more money. That's all they have to do. They really don't need to worry about a debt. See, the rich get to do that. We, the poor, don't. And so we, the poor, will be suffering. But there is also the potential of a stock market collapse, which they'll use it as an excuse to hurt the economy. Because the economy and the stock market are not connected. The businesses are the connecting piece of the tool. And the stock market is just their little gambling game to make extra money. And if that collapses, they still have their business. But they want to use this collapse of the stock market to justify collapsing the economy and the business. It's corrupt. But nonetheless, be watchful for that with the falling stock market. That it will get even worse with the cost of items. So the sooner you can get it before prices rise for the year's supply of things, the better. Yeah. And then the church is working hard, going full court press now to make sure things are put in place for the collapse of our government. The collapse of our government, or the national divorce, or any other way in which the government will collapse, which is the federal government, will result in state tribal governments. And so if you're in a conservative country like I am, you're in for some real hard troubles because of the fascism that they will embrace and enforce on the people. And liberal ones, it will be problematic, but in the beginning they may try to lure you in by not being fascist. But then you've got those states that are a half and half mix, which will be a war to seek to dominate over the other. And so if the government collapses, as it is prophesied to do, you need to be prepared for that. Try to make sure that you're with your family. Hopefully you love your family. And they're not like my family. But, or being all alone, for that matter. But make sure you're reconciled so you don't have regrets. But I'll leave that up to you guys to determine that. And so, yeah, there's some things that are coming with our government laws that are being passed. The new state flag for fascism. I've done the symbolism for you on videos. They're planning on having that released the month before, 8 April 2024. And they're also rounding up the homeless so that this winter, this coming winter, at the end of the year, they will again round up the homeless one last time. And it's not for their safety. When fascism says that they want to provide safety for the citizenry, they mean lock you up, incarcerate you. That's what the shelter has become. It has become a prison. And as I told you, the shelter is fully contaminated of drug residue poison that is causing sickness among those who stay at the shelter, as I suffered from it as you watched me in the videos. And so I'm concerned of an extermination that will take place this coming winter, because fascist governments consider homeless people worthless in society. They're not contributing, they're a burden, etc., because they refuse to help people out of poverty so that they can contribute to society. They expect people to do it on their own, and if they fail, then they're worthless and must be exterminated, which is a horrible atrocity, a horrible abomination. That people can be so callous. Because you can have a government that works where everybody prospers. They just don't want to do it. And you can have an economy that everybody prospers and they just don't want to do it. And that's resulting in the dividing of the people, when it's the government that we need to focus our anger towards. So, yeah, stay safe. Please hearken. Because like I said, things are going to happen this year. This is the final year. I have decoded it. That's where my inspiration led me to. And all I wanted to know was how Joseph Smith translated the Hebrew text of the Bible in the King Follett Discourse. That's the only answer I wanted. I didn't want all the rest of this. I wasn't expecting it. So, again, things happen in my life. And this time, it's going to affect everybody, not just me.